I grew up in a community south of Boston called New Bedford in the foster care system, as you mentioned. And I got lost in the gaps of that system and found myself in these very difficult foster homes. At the same time, I'm fighting that battle. I'm fighting this battle of identity because I have no memory of my mother or father, so I don't know who they are. And more importantly, I do not know where they are. And certainly I am unaware that I am on the receiving end of this generational history that had led to my placement in foster care. And for all intents and purposes, it appears that that cycle was going to continue, but it was arrested by those who came into my life at just the right time. These people I came to call human lighthouses. And so their presence in my life, along with my own determination to find a different path and the lessons and philosophies that I developed as a result of navigating that circumstances, well, it's put an end to that cycle.
I think it's fantastic that you built so much based off this negative experience you had. What do you feel are the biggest systemic issues that are facing children today that are going through any similar experience that you had?
There's a multiplicity of those issues: attention, visibility, resources. I would say that the volume of children, as an example, entering into foster care is the greatest that we've seen since the Civil War.
Wow.
Because the downhill effect and impact of mental health crises, of addiction, leading to family separations, that and a multiplicity of other issues are breaking down, families and creating crises. It's not necessarily fair to say that the system is flawed, although like any other system, it needs improvements, right? And the social workers in that system are absolutely doing, by and large, their level best, but they are swamped, they're overwhelmed. A lot of them are walking through the world with their own emotional burden of trying to help children and families navigate a crisis. And this is true for teachers, by the way, as well, especially in light of the pandemic. So there's a lot of factors that are creating all of these different kinds of issues. So what do you need then? Well, you certainly need a stronger focus on this than Washington, D.C. The strength of any nation is the strength of its children, particularly its most vulnerable children. There's a reason why those of us who are faith abiding, there's a reason why the word orphan is mentioned 27 different times in scripture and always in the context of the responsibility that we have to orphans. There's a reason why just about all the superheroes that we know have one common trait. They were all orphans: Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, Frodo Baggins, Jane Eyre, Harry Potter. There's this common thread. That means that we want to give these young people a sense of a skill set that they have because they've navigated adversity. And I would say the single biggest thing lacking, in addition to the more practical things, safe places and awareness and dedication, is that we have to arm these young people, both those who might be in a foster care crisis and those who are navigating crises where everything appears to be fine, is vision of a different life than the one that they are in.
I'm very happy that you mentioned the superhero aspect, because I have heard you speak multiple times about helping children find their superpower. What do you mean by that? And how do you think parents and teachers should take action in regards to helping children find their superpower?
We often conflate the more immediate needs of safety, security, stability that may be denied, some young people and their families. And that makes perfect sense. And that's where our priority should be. However, there's got to be this other concerted, deliberate, purposeful effort to make sure that that it's not always going to be this way, and that you're not broken. You're deserving of a chance in the world. You've done nothing wrong. You've just inherited a very difficult set of circumstances that aren't your fault. But if we can talk to you in the language of your dreams and not your circumstances, then we can help you pivot from that circumstance to the possibilities that await you. And that comes from a very specific conversation. We ought not to call you at risk or underserved or underprivileged. I've never met a young person who, when you ask them what they are or who they are or what they want to be, they never use any of those descriptors. They're always dreaming. And we always want to make sure that we are trying to affirm those dreams, while at the same time articulating the importance of accountability and responsibility so that they can make those dreams come true.